favorite co-host. Aside from my two other favorite co-hosts, si Lelo and Mark Gambo. Kamusta, paring Ronald Liamas?
Kamusta, Richard? You look so decent,
I
no?
know. As always, as always.
Although you also look tired.
Yeah, I know, I know. Mahabang usapan yan. Very harsh lunch, no? Essentially saying that. And that kind of surprise. Yeah,
Protracted tragedy ng
yeah.
or perhaps even earlier. Dahil yung mga Zionists ay pumunta dyan even before the war. No? Even before the World War II. No? So, pero nag-escalate yan noong 1940s at saka 1950s, especially during, no? Very complex eh. Hindi to pwedeng no?
Complex,
At
yeah.
lalo na ay siguro yung isang pwedeng tumbukin Richard. Kaya at
Of course, in
yung
general, Ronald, no? I mean, we're clear. We're against any violence against civilians, deliberate targeting.
one state or one group, no? Naalala mo yung massacres sa mga refugee camp massacre na nangyari nung panahon ni Sharon, no? Remember that? So masama itong nangyari ngayon, no? Lalo na sa yung mga beheadings, no? Yung massacre ng civilians, no? At nadadamay yung mga Pilipino dahil it's a place of contradictions eh. Maganda siya, no? Ang ganda siya. It's such a mix of races, a mix of people, no? Pero doon mo rin makikita yung historical as well as yung present contradictions, no, ng humanity in that small patch of land. No? In that small patch of land. Kaya
Of this debate, but bilang isang Pilipino and bilang isang progressive, what is your reading about all of these internal debates? Because I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing many people among progressives are fighting against each other, right? I think Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also just came out a while ago and made a statement about, like, of course, in democracy, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but not celebration of violence, especially when it's against civilians, etc. And, like, where do you stand on this? Kasi yun nga, like, of course, as progressive, you have to fight for just peace. That's important. In this case, two-state solution, respecting the right to self-determination of people in occupied territories. But at the same time, obviously, it doesn't mean that you'll just endorse any kind of violence and justify it. I mean, how wrapping your head around this, right?
migration nung initially ng mga Zionists at nag-scale up siya during World War II after the Holocaust. No?
Yeah.
After
So
the
again,
Holocaust.
nakikita natin may kasalanan talaga mga Europeo dito, di ba? Britain in terms of their management, and then the Germans, the horrible things they did to Jewish minority
Just like the
mothers. Yeah.
division of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Sa yung Palestine nung panahon na yan eh. It is somewhere, Palestine is somewhere between Egypt and Syria. Diba?
And they were part of the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, I mean, there was the
Pero ang tawag nila sa sarili nila ay mga Palestinians na, no? At during the war, ay sinakop yan ng Turkey.
Yeah.
So, ang yaman ng kasaysayan yan eh.
Yeah.
At napakayaman sa history of invasion. Ito yung crossroads ng empires eh. Since the dawn of history.
Yeah.
Since prehistory. At yung mga problema na nakikita natin ngayon ay rooted dun sa ganyang klaseng napaka-complex, napaka-tragic na nakasaysayan.
Yeah.
But inuulit ko yung sinabi mo, Christian, no? Definitely,
Christian na ako.
Laban tayo.
Matuwa na ngayon si Christian.
Laban tayo sa ganyang klase ng impunity, ng violation of human rights, no? Laban tayo diyan. Lalo na ito nakikita natin na nangyayari on both sides. On both sides. Hindi yan pwedeng i-justify. No? Hindi yan pwedeng i-justify gaano man katindi yung naranasan nila historically hanggang sa kasalukuyan. No?
Yeah.
Actually, when I was there several times, no, nakita ko yung ganitong klaseng contradictions. Nakita ko firsthand yung ganitong klaseng ay merong pinagagalingan na tama at mali, di ba? Merong pinanggagalingan na tama at mali yung both sides, no? Kaya nga, at a particular moment in history, nung nagharap si Arafat in 1999 in Lisbon at si Begin, no? That was historic because it was beyond that very holy place for Islam, no? Yun yung nangyayari dito eh. Talagang nabo-blow out of proportion dahil sa hindi lamang sa kasaysayan ng isang narrow na lugar na yan na pinagtalunan historically. Naalala natin yung Crusades, di ba? No, yung first, second, third crusade, no? Diyan nangyari, diyan nagbakbakan. Kaya we have to be more circumspect, no? Pag
Yeah.
pinag-usapan natin yan, no? Ayokong pag-usapan niya lang maiksi, Richard.
Yun nga,
no?
but I rather just not pretend that we can go
Ang
deep enough.
daming
Yeah.
variables involved dyan,
Yeah.
no? Ang daming variables involved. Kaya medyo nakakatakot pag-usapan ng maiksi. Dahil baka ma-reduce into binary
Not at all, exactly.
presuppositions.
Yeah. And the reason I'm of course saying,
Lalong-lalo na, Richard, no? Lalong-lalo na, Richard, na napakaraming Pilipino dyan, no?
yun din,
At
hindi lang sa
naiipit tayo dito
yeah.
sa dynamics dahil yung mga Pilipino, no, dahil nga may tension yung Israelis at saka yung mga Palestinian, maraming Palestinian natanggal sa trabaho at mga Pilipino ang pumalit. Kaya nung nandyan ako, ay naiipit yung mga Pilipino
Yeah,
in
yung
their
mga kabayan
thousands
natin, yeah.
dyan sa napaka-complicated at napaka-historical na bungguan na yan.
And of course, Ronald, marami tayong kababayan in neighboring Lebanon, back in the day also in Syria, and not to mention millions also in the Gulf region, among others. So, yun nga, it's as Filipinos, we should always hope for a just, peaceful situation there as much as possible, no? Because kawawa naman din yung mga kababayan natin na ipit. I mean, can you imagine yung mga kababayan natin na, I mean, kasi the other day, di ba, na-interview rin ako sa news just before me yung mga OFW sa Israel lang na-interview. And I mean, like, these are people working, you know, like next to the border with Gaza, or there are also some Filipinos, I think, who are married to Palestinians. So, yun nga, like, I just hope that people try to appreciate the humanity of everyone here, regardless of creed and religion and all of
Kaya-
that. And disappoint ako
kaya
when people are
nakakagalit.
trying to jump into one camp or the other automatically.
Kaya nga nakakagalit, Richard, listening to ex-President Duterte, no?
Yeah.
Urging the Israeli Prime Minister, no? To destroy Gaza, no? To destroy all the people there. Lalong-lalo na nangyari yung peace process during his watch. Sana man lang ay nag-input siya na, this is how we did it, no? To some extent, it's not yet finished, but we have relative success. No, sana man lang ganun yung kanyang pero perhaps I'm expecting too much
Yeah.
from a psychopath.
Yun nga, I mean, I was not expecting for Digong to say that, because yun nga, I historically know Digong, when it goes at least to one issue, which is, you know, relations in Mindanao with our Muslim brothers and sisters, Bangsamoro, he was always a little bit more progressive than people would give credit to him, no? And I felt his push for the Bangsamoro peace process and all of that was his finest hour. So I was a bit surprised by that, but then again, I mean, I also understand, you know, a lot of backstory to this, and also the ideological alignments with the, you know, his pals on the other side of this. Now, let's transition now to the Philippines, because you can see na, kasi sobrang, it's gonna be a day-long conversation, and I think there's no way we can
Perhaps
give
a week long.
or a millennia long, right? So I rather write about it, but in a proper context. And the thing is, Ronald, is emotions are high. People just died. Children just died. Children are still dying right now here and there. So when emotions are so high, I rather just shut up about debates, right? Parang let's just try to preserve our humanity and pray for humanity. Yun na lang position ko for now. We can have the debate later on, but now is not the time for that. So all I'm doing right now is just calling out people who are celebrating violence against civilians, regardless of what side, no? Now, the thing is, Duterte is speaking out again. Medyo tumahimik siya for a while after yung whole China disaster niya, fiasco niya, all of the, yung mga nag-Karen siya, Karen diplomacy didn't work. But now he's talking again, and he's not only talking about what's happening, of course, abroad. He's also talking about the confidential fund issue, right? Trying to say, oh no, this is for artists. What's going on? Is this the daddy coming to, like that, trying to help daughter? Is this about him defending his own ROTC, bara-bara, militaristic ideology? Is he saying that ito si Bato at Robimhood, hindi naman magaling mag-debate yan, ako na lang bahala I mean, what's going on here, Ronald? This transition into the Philippines, I think mas kaya natin yan at this point, yeah.
Well, it's understandable dahil masyadong negative na itong issue ng confidential at saka intelligence fund, no, for the Vice President and the Secretary of Education. At lalo na, napaka-positive nung option na ilagay ito sa mga frontliners natin sa West Philippine Sea. No? Galit na galit nga si Harry Roque dahil ang sinasabi nila Speaker Martin Romualdez, we are on the right side of history. No? Ako, nagwawala si Harry Roque. No? Kaya makikita mo
medyo
na
heavy yung terms.
Medyo nahihirapan si Vice President Sara Duterte sa pag-handle nito. Kaya nga nakita natin last week ay parang tumakbo siya sa kanyang tatay na hindi naman maganda yung relasyon nila for years, di ba? Pero kung ito political survival, lalo na with the last survey, no? Dahil hindi lang naman dahil bumaba si President Marcos by 15%. Mas maliit yung binaba ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero hindi siya dapat bumaba Dahil usually pag may problema ang bansa, ang tama sa presidente. Dahil alam naman natin na yung Vice President is just a spare tire in our political system, no? At nung lumabas yung survey na yan, nung ginawa yan, ay hindi pa pumuputok yung intelligence at saka confidential fund issue ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero tinamaan na rin siya significantly, 11%. So ang nakikita natin dito ay kahit hindi pa ito yung talagang full-blown intelligence at saka confidential fund, ay may lamat na sa kanya. Pero mas mahalaga, ang nakita rito ay hindi siya katulad ng kanyang tatay. Hindi siya Teflon. So yung tatay, kailangan niyang ipahiram. At least subuking ipahiram yung kanyang pagiging Teflon. Hoping na sana ito ay mag-grab on sa kanyang daughter. No? Pero for now, nung kahapon, nagdinipensahan ni former spokesperson Panelo, si Sara Duterte sa Politiscope. No? Tapos ngayon, dinipensahan ni spokesperson Harry Roque si Sara Duterte kasabay ng ginawa ng kanyang tatay. Ako, watching those three, tingin ko, if you have defenders and friends like this, you no longer need enemies. No? Yung, imaginein mo yung
liability.
Panelo, no? Sabi niya, anong mali na ginastos ang 125 million in 11 days? Dapat nga yan ginastos in 1 day. No? Bakit nakikialam ang Department of Budget at saka Congress dito sa intelligence at saka confidential fund? Dapat yan inaprubahan na kagad. No? Bakit dapat para masolusyonan na yung problema na yan, dapat mag-revolutionary government na lang. Yan ang sabi ni Panelo, Tapos kanina naman, sabi ni Harry Roque, no? Sabi niya ay this congressmen are all hypocrites. They have lost their souls. No? Ganun siya, no? Nanginginig, nanggagalaite, no? Napaka-self-righteous.
Gigil
no?
na, nagigigil na.
Siguro kung ikaw yan, Christian, attacking Congress, baka mas credible, no? Pero kung...
Nakadalawang Christian ka na sa akin, malapit ka na ma-block. Ronald,
Alzheimer's na ako.
wala.
Alzheimer's na ako. Sorry.
Matutuwa na naman si Christian yan.
Kung no Richard, yung magsasabi niya, no? May certain level ng credibility. Sabi ko, certain level, Hindi full credibility, Pero kung ang magsasabi niyan, ipokrita rin, no? Yung binabanatan niya, mga ipokrito, walang epekto. no? Lalo na sabi niya kanina, gusto niyo bang i-expose ko yung mga kabulukan niyo diyan? Gusto niyo bang ilabas ko, no? Yung mga nangyayari diyan. Ibig sabihin, when he was a congressman, nakita niya itong mga gawi ng mga kongresista. Pero bakit wala siyang sinabi? Kung nakita niya yung corruption sa Kongreso, bakit hindi niya in-expose?
Right.
No? Hanggang ngayon, no? Hindi ba culpable din siya? No? Or sana naman hindi. Baka involved din siya. Katulad ng kanyang mga binabanatan. Kaya ang sinasabi ko, mahirap maging self-righteous eh. Lalo na kung meron kang muta, meron kang, ano man tawag sa muta sa English? Meron kang muta sa mata mo. No? Huwag ka masyadong banat ng banat. No? Lalo na, before, nung 2016, during the campaign, binabanata mo si Digong as a murderer, as a killer, na dapat hindi iboto. No? Ang dami mong video, sinasabi mo yan. And then, ikaw yung defender ng killer. No?
Nako, yung video na naalala ko, Ronald, yung...
Before tayo sumama sa ICC, ikaw yung kumakampanya na sumama tayo sa International Criminal Court. Tapos nung binanatan yung iyong boss, ikaw yung kumampanya para tayo ay umalis. So, sino yung hypocrite? Mag-ingat ka. Baka pag bumabanat ka, bumalik sa sarili mo yung banat mo. No? Yan yung... at si President Duterte naman, ang sabi, alam nyo, yung intelligence at saka confidential fund ng aking anak, si Inday, ginamit yan sa seminar at saka sa mga field trip para sa ROTC. Naku, Diyos ko po. No? Hindi naman para dun yung confidential fund. No? Bakit po pinapahamak yung anak mo? No? At saka sobrang mahal naman yung field trip at saka seminar na yan. Saan ginawa yan? Sa Amanpulo?
I think MOE dapat
sa
yun, no?
Boracay?
Dapat MOE yata yan, pag ganun expenses, di ba? Yung miscellaneous,
Yeah.
ganun. I think he's not even
Exactly.
appreciating the distinctions between these different kinds of funds. Well, I mean, he's not at his sharpest, to be honest about. I mean, going back to Harry Roque, I mean, the videos I remember of him, the latest one, are yung mga sayaw niya sa harap ni si Chavit Singson ba yan? Napanood mo yan,
Oo,
Ron?
yung basta yung kanyang...
Yun yung medyo naalala
sayaw,
kong video. Nakakalimutan ko na yung mga video.
Hindi ko sinabing naihi siya. Sinabi ko lang na basa yung kanyang salwal sa harapan. Wala ko sinasabing naihi siya.
But I'm saying,
No?
once you see that, you cannot unsee that. Okay, yung mga videos na ganito. Now, now going back to this, I mean, if you look at Digong, ang basa ko dito is like, I think he sensed vulnerability. Interestingly, the other day ka-interview ko lang si Ronald Holmes, Ronnie Holmes, and I said, Ronnie Holmes, now be the political analyst, put aside yung Pulse Asia mo. And agree din siya, if the survey were conducted in second half of September, ang kutob din niya, mas malapit yung baksak niya kay BBM. Siguro BBM will go down from 15 to 14, 13. Sara will go to 11, 12. So clearly, Digong saw that, because whatever we want to say about Digong, he has political instincts. He's a consummate politicot, no? So he senses vulnerability. He knows when things are not moving in the right direction. So clearly, he's trying to step in. But yun the question is he doing the right kind of intervention? Parang baka you're just making things worse by coming up with this ridiculous kind of... But I think it's also about Digong, trying to stay relevant and also trying to reassert the whole, ROTC, all of that kind of Dutertology, Duterte ideology kind of thing. No, I think I'm sure there's also an aspect of that, not only about being there for the daughter, but also him reasserting that whole, because kinalimutan na yun, laos na yung ganyan thinking, di ba? Like BBM is a completely different guy. He's more into economics. He's more into so yun din ang basa ko dito what's happening here.
Tingin ko totoo yan, Richard. Partly, no? Dahil gusto niyang mas maging relevant, lalo na sa panahong ito. Pero tingin ko yung mas dominant yan ay talaga nagbubuo na sila, ino-organize na nila yung kanilang sarili, not only to defend Sara. No? Dahil the lines have been drawn since Tambaluslos. No? Sinasabi natin na pabilis, pero nandyan
Yeah.
So, tingin ko, ito ay bahagi na nung pag-organize nila sa kanilang sarili as the new opposition.
Right.
Who will engage the government in less than 2 years during the midterm. No? Tingin ko yun yung mas dominant dito sa kanyang first public salvo laban sa pinsa ng presidente, laban sa speaker ng Kongreso. No? At tingin ko it's not lost on everyone na involved na dito ang presidente. Hindi naman pwedeng mangyari yung pagtanggal ng hundreds of millions of intelligence
Baka
and
hands-off lang
confidential
siya.
funds.
Baka hands, kasi
Diba?
nakipag-Grand Prix din siya dito with us, so he's busy. Kaya nang bahala
Yes,
dyan.
no? Kahit papaano may nag-report sa kanya. Kahit papaano hindi niya tinanggihan.
Correct.
Hindi niya kinontra. No? Kaya hindi ako magugulat kung bukas makalawa, diretso na sa presidente yung banat. Katulad ng mga ramblings niya sa SMNI before. Attacking foreign policy, attacking the drug policy,
Yeah.
attacking the 20 pesos kilo of rice.
Kakalat na naman siya.
Etc. So, ito yung first public na atake niya kay Speaker Martin Romualdez, no? Talagang matindi. Sinasabi niya na bumabaha ang pera sa Kongreso, no? Ibig sabihin nung kanyang panahon as president, hindi bumabaha yung pera sa Kongreso. Linawin natin, Hindi bumabaha. Kaya yan yung hypocrisy na tinatawag ni Harriet o Harry Roque, no? Yan yung hypocrisy na yan, no?
Well, I mean, we'll have a separate episode on also speaking of, hypocrisy, speaking of navigating very difficult situation. Marami tayong pag-usapan, but yeah, ibang episode, we'll do it in the next episode. But in this episode, pag-usapan pa rin natin to, Ronald. So, we're seeing news of GMA meeting Sara, meeting the INC leadership. We saw the picture, of course, of Tito Soto with Tigong. I don't want to make too much of the picture between Lenny and Arroyo, but clearly something is happening here, no? Clearly there's alignments, counter alignments also happening now ahead of the 2025, no? What's your read on that, Ronald?
Well, katulad ng pinag-usapan natin sa mga episodes mo, no? Ito na yung reorganization, no? Katulad ng pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, no? Yung picture taking with Tito Soto ay negotiations, hindi pa yan clinch.
Of course,
no?
of course.
Tingin ko may effort din yung si Speaker Martin Romualdez at si President Bongbong na hatakin itong grupo ni Tito Soto. Dahil grupo ito Grupo ito ng 5 ex-senators. 4 ex-senators.
With Lacson and
isang
all.
incumbent na patapos yung term, si Lito Lapid. They call themselves the Macho Group. No? Parang yung R&R, no? Macho Group, no? Yan yung grupo nila.
The Big Five.
Hindi ako magtataka kung re-recruitin tayo dyan, no? So, yan si Tito Soto, Lito Lapid, Gringo Honasan,
Correct.
no? Ping Lacson, Manny Pacquiao, no? Hindi pa dyan kasama si Bong Revilla, no? Pero nakakausap din. So, they're negotiating, tingin ko, as a group. At yan yung picture taking with Arroyo, Digong, and Bongo.
Right.
No? Pero hindi pa yan clinch. I'm almost sure. No? Pero yan na yung batakan. Yan na yung hatakan going into the midterms. No? Diyan na nagsisimula.
Uy, ngayon ko lang narinig tong yung ba to? Viva Hotman ba to? Yung 5 sinabi mo yun. Naalala mo? Viva Hotman ba to? Naalala mo dati may away nung dalawang grupo, yung mga iba na di ba meron 2 grupo dati yung mga Viva Hotmen, tapos yung kabila naman, para matcha din sila. Tapos tawag ng mga matcha sa mga Viva Hotmen, mukha kayong callboy. Tapos sabi niya, kayo mukha kayong kargador. Basta may mga ganun na away dati, nakalimutan ko yung mga names nila. Pero nakakatawa yung mga kantsawan nila back in the day, no? So meron, Spice Boys.
Sila dun sa R&R, no? Yung R&R na macho group, no?
Oo. Ronald, I think kailangan natin i-triple R yan. Baka naman si Professor. Baka pwede natin kasama si Randy David na rin in the future, no?
Pwede.
Oo, maganda yan. Triple
Pwede,
R
no?
tayo. Oo.
Oo, triple R, no? Tsaka okay yun. Mas matalino sa akin yun.
Hindi, magaling talaga si Randy. No, I mean, what's up with bossing Randy, no? I mean, he's not very active on social media from my understanding, no? It would be nice to have him also and talk to him once in a while. Yeah.
Partly dahil he's still grieving.
Of course, yeah, I understand.
For the loss of Karina. Partly ay nag-enjoy siya sa kanyang garden. Plantito rin yun katulad ko. At he's 78 going to 79. So, medyo slowed down na rin siya.
Yeah, but he's still sharp. He's still sharp from what I understand.
Mas introspective siya after a life well spent.
Yeah.
So, meron din siyang summation, no? Napag-usapan nga namin na gusto niyang bumiyahe dito sa Asia para bisitahin yung kanyang fellow public intellectuals
Right.
na yung iba ay pumanaw na, yung
Mm.
iba ay matatanda na, yung iba ay may sakit na. So bago sila mawala, gusto niya bisitahin sila. At
Oh, wow.
sinasama niya ako. Jakarta, no,
Wow.
Japan, no, Malaysia. So parang it's a journey na gusto niyang gawin. So medyo nag-slow down na siya
Yeah,
and
maganda.
becoming more circumspect about a life well spent.
Oh,
Siguro pag tayo ay ganyang edad na rin, baka mag-slow down na rin tayo, no? Siguro ikaw hindi dahil jet setter ka no?
stem cell na, stem cell na natin yan. But bago tayo mag-Vicky Bello, I just want to end on this episode. Are you, I mean, if you are Arroyo or if you are Digong, again, let's put our political strategist hat on. How do you make sure na hindi sablay yung moves mo, na hindi ka pa-relevant pero relevant ka pa rin? Gets mo? Like, how do you pull off that? Because it's not like Digong and Arroyo have no cards to play. They do have cards to play. Arroyo still has
Yeah.
networks. Digong still has the popularity. How do you make sure na... Kasi both of them overreach, right? I think that's the story of the year. Both Arroyo and Digong overreach. And I think it's also
Yeah.
because they both underestimated Marcos Jr., which many people did, and I don't blame them for that. But I think they should learn some lessons from their overreaching early on. Of course, we're not here to help them, but what would have been the reasonable, more reasonable way for them? Yeah, but we're fair, diba? We're fair. We're political
Yeah.
strategists. So what would have been the
Yeah.
reasonable way for Arroyo to approach
But
this and Digong too?
if I were them, no, the minimum that they can do is that to survive the interregnum, to survive the midterm. Because the midterm, very powerfully incumbent.
Right.
So, wag silang mangarap na sila yung magiging dominant dito.
Yeah.
Yung
Wag mong
kanilang
banggain
pangarap
ngayon,
is to-
maaga pa. Yeah.
Yeah, is to survive, no?
Yeah.
Magsimulang bumangga, magsimulang to provide the alternative, no? But ang kanilang strategy should be post midterm. Kung saan sana from their vantage point ma-maintain ni Sara yung kanyang lead, no, going into 2028.
Yeah.
Then magbabago yung configuration ng incumbent dahil yung mga supportive sa incumbent during the midterms ay magsisimula ng lumawag at
Yeah.
magsisimula ng mag-negotiate sa kanila.
Yeah.
Diba? So, ang mahalaga is mag-survive sila. Hindi sila maging insignificant, as you said, no? And kahit pa paano, medyo pa-jab-jab. No?
Right.
Pa-jab-jab. Yung shadow boxing na ginagawa mo,
Yeah,
hindi mo ginagawa ngayon dahil
exactly.
pagod ka eh. No? So, ganun, no? Survive, form their coalition, and prepare for post-midterm
Right.
na magbabago yung alignment at saka realignment possibly in their favor kung hindi mawasak si Sara.
Yeah. So yung war of positioning nila, medyo nagmaneuver sila ng prematurely. So now they have to recalibrate. Siguro they can learn a thing or two from opposition during Digong's time, right? Who tried to just survive and find a second wind, no? And some of them have found, which will be our next episode, right? Because I want to talk about two individuals who are still associated with the Liberal Party. One of them is still a member of Liberal Party. One is Stella Quimbo, of course, and the other one is Roxas. Both of them are very similar, right? Bright people, technocratic people, but also very bashed people, right? Because they have been trying to navigate a very impossible and difficult situation. Thank you very much, Ronald, for joining. Nakabawi ako sa iyo.
Mabuti ka, ah. Pero ikaw naman, wala ka pang Alzheimer's. Bata ka pa eh. Ako, wala. Senior na eh.
Bumabawi ako sa iyo. Nakadalawang Christian ka sa akin. Thank you very much for that, Secretary Llamas. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay.
Yun yung mahirap dito pag salisihan eh. Guess ako doon sa kabila, tas guess ako dito, tas kay Michael pahatin ako. Bukas, the chip naman ako.
No, this is good. This is good. No, I mean, and I mean, of course, the good thing is we are refining our analysis and all as we converse with each other, while trying to be, of course, we have our original takes on things. Now, Secretary Ronald Llamas, let's talk about this. I mean, you work directly with Roxas. Back in the day, you were both in the cabinet. Let's talk about him shortly. But before going to him, let's talk about Stella Quimbo. Because last time I checked, She's also an economist by training. She's also a very bright person. She's still a member of the Liberal Party last time I checked. And mukhang her attempt at navigating, let's say the realignments in a way that will benefit her cause, whatever that is, meaning, I don't know, maybe to push for fiscal reforms, whatever, it has been mixed at best, no? But it's not like she has given up, right? So ang basa ko is the fact that she was at the very forefront of saying we'll be at the right side of history, we will deal with controversial, confidential fund in the best way. We'll be, so clearly that's her way of, I won't use the word rehabilitation, but pivot, right? She's like pivoting and trying to find her footing again. What's your read on Stella Quimbo before we go to Mara Ross? Because very similar itong dalawa na yan. And their stories, I think, also says a lot about the difficulties of being a centrist in Philippine politics, right? I mean, can you really be centrist and at the same time have your political convictions and not be compromised? Like, yun ang mahirap, di ba, Ronald, sa ating politika. So let's first talk about Stella Quimbo. What is your read on that? Because from Maharlika Fund to the confidential fund, she's always at the front. She takes the punches. She makes the pivot. She makes the recalibration. She tries to defend herself. She has been giving interviews to Rappler right and left. Why would you go and have an interview with Rappler, right? Obviously, you're trying to rehabilitate yourself with a certain sector. So what's your reading of Stella?
From my vantage point, Richard, I don't envy her position.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Halimbawa,
Yeah.
siya yung isa sa mga main defenders ng intelligence at saka confidential fund ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Pinupuri pa siya mismo ni Vice President Sara Duterte for defending her. Even the indefensible, dinidepensahan niya, no? Yung transfer, yung release, no, whatever yung final term na ginagamit nila nung pondo to the Vice President. Talagang sinagad niya yung pagdepensa, no? Eventually, kinakailangan niyang kainin at lunukin yung kanyang mga sinabi. At hindi lang yun, sa kanya pinabasa ng speaker yung pagtanggal ng intelligence fund, no? Medyo nagulat ako doon dahil parang kiniskis mo sa mukha ni Stella yung kanyang error, di ba? na siya mismo ang nagbasa nung pagtanggal ng intelligence fund sa national budget, di ba?
Or maybe giving her an exit ramp, like, okay, you broke it, you fix it, I'll give you the chance, something like that. Hindi ba kaya ganun?
Pero hindi naman siya veteran politician di ba? Hindi siya
of course
soldier. He's the best soldier who can do this, no? Ang
medyo
problema,
bibo masyado.
politics is not that simple no? Yung politika hindi ganyan kasimple dahil alliances, loyalties change overnight, no? Positions, they change overnight, no? Hindi ito European Parliament na malinaw yung ideological position ng mga political parties at ng mga members of Parliament. Dito, walang fulcrum walang moorings, no? So, it was so naive of her to think that way, no? To think that way. At ito yung kanyang naranasan ngayon, no? Sana naman hindi siya damaged permanently, but definitely may damage siyang naranasan, no? Lalo na sa pagdepensa sa intelligence at confidential fund ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Na, as I said, she went the extra mile. She pushed the envelope further. Dapat naramdaman niya, yung mga kasama niya sa house, yung kanyang principal, nagsisimula na mag-backtrack, no? Nagsisimula na mag-backpedal, no? Tapos siya nandun pa rin sa unahan, defending. Tapos ngayon, eventually siya ang nagsabi na tinanggal na nga, no? Medyo embarrassing embarrassing yung kanyang naranasan, no? Kaya sana, this is a wake-up call for her, no? Na things are not always what they appear to be, no? You have to look as yung mas malalim na mga kadahilanan. Bakit ka inatasan na gawin yan? No? Ba't ka inatasan na ginawa? Dapat mas circumspect ka. And in a way, more suspicious. Less innocent. No? Wag dapat kasing innocent ni Richard Haydarian. No? You have to be, sabi sa Biblia, no? Innocent like a dove. No? But cunning like a snake. Diba? Ayun yung R&R. Di ba yan yung
Yeah.
R&R?
Kaya nga, I really want to discuss this. I like this conversation because, people
Yeah.
were just quick to jump to conclusions, no? Or take sides, no?
Mm.
And then, pasasalamat na tayo na may isang katulad ni Stella na napakatalino nandyan sa position. Otherwise, this will go to some trapo na walang alam. And then the other said, she's, and nag-Faustian pact na siya, tapos na yan, compromise na yan. And I just think that's amateur way of looking at this. Medyo, because politics is, it's wrestling, it's jiu-jitsu, it's grind and pound and all of, but it's about being suave. It's about knowing when to be a bit bibo
Actually, it's
and when
more,
not to be too bibo. Yeah.
actually, Philippine politics is more street fighting. Eh. Ang tawag namin dyan, nung panahon
Bardagulan.
namin, sikaran.
Yeah.
Sikaran.
Yeah.
It's a combination of boxing, judo, mixed martial arts,
Right.
but using every weapon at your disposal. No?
Right, right.
Yan yung training namin nung sa trade unions kami. Sikaran. Si
Yeah.
Commander Latigo ang nagturo sa amin sa Baras, sa Rizal.
So so our argument was perhaps in principle it made sense for her to take up the challenge of being the senior vice chair dun sa appropriations committee because pasok na pasok ito dun sa kanya expertise at kanya mga advocacies as a fiscal economist kind of person to make sure funds go to the best place. But yun nga, I had issues with her overpraising Marcos Jr. in public. You were saying, why is she going all the way and doing the Harry Roque thing for Sara Duterte? She didn't need to do that, especially when nagpipivot na away yung mga parang wala nang tao sa likod niya. She's still there. Yung like amateur hour. Medyo amateur hour ang dating, diba?
Yeah,
And in a way
exactly.
actually that got my empathy in a sense because napansin ko amateur talaga to, hindi na nababasa, hindi kasi siya nakikinig sa mga vlogs natin eh. If she would have realized 6 months ago medyo iba na yung inip ng hangin, diba, after the whole tambalos-los thing. And she's saying herself, I'm his go-to for technical issues, referring to Martin Romualdez. So apparently you're highly respected and praised, so you don't need to take the punches and go the extra mile if you're already valued and all. Now, nevertheless, she has plans in politics after Congress. So in 2025 midterm elections, mukhang may plano siyang tumakbo for Marikina, no? Mayor of Marikina or something like
Yeah.
that. And realistically, if you're still in the opposition, I mean, you're part of Liberal Party, saan ka kuha ng support and resources and all. So probably she also overdid it because she's also, she's also expecting that she'll be the administration bet for a potentially competitive position in the major city like Marikina City. So, siguro nag-overkill na siya or like, you know what I'm saying, nag-overcompensate siya or masyado siyang sigurista. Kaya sumablay ng ganito, no?
At saka member siya ng isang political party na I think has 6 or 7 members of parliament, Congress. I think siya kasama yung 4 more are members of the majority. One of their members is a member of the minority, and their party president is a member of a self-created independent minority, si Edsel Lagman, who calls the minority Iskirol or company union, and of course calls the majority part of the administration. So imagine, she's part of this political party, no? The party of my boss.
But why is she still in Liberal Party? Why?
Ano siya na-reduce ganyan, no? Yung ganyang klaseng partido, no? The party of Mar Rojas, no?
Which we'll talk about shortly. Yeah, we will talk about, don't worry. But Stella muna tayo. I think no, because ang tanong dito, Ronald, di ba? See, we advise everyone because we're here as political strategists, right? So even if we may not be fans of, I don't know, Digong Arroyo, you would say, sana yan na lang gawin nyo. Be relevant but wag pa-relevant. Wag sablay yung timing, wag Karen. Now, if Stella Quimbo, if we were to advise Stella, what would be our advice to her? How to quote-unquote redeem herself or put herself in a stronger position in the coming years? I think she has a pretty good chance of winning the mayor position in Marikina, but I'm sure that's not going to be the final position. I'm sure she'll have plans for national office down the road. So, how should Stella plan her next 3 to 6 years? From this tortuous experience she has had over the past 12 months or so. Sobrang difficult yung kanyang I think she's the most bashed politician aside from the usual suspects, right?
Tingin ko, kung tumakbo siyang mayor ng Marikina, I'm almost sure she will win.
Yeah.
So, doon niya i-reinvent yung kanyang sarili. For lack of a better example, Abico Soto of Marikina.
Yeah.
Di ba? Dito sa Marikina, no, do something like that.
Yeah.
Because politics is local, no? Dito sa Makati ni Binay, dito sa Pasig ni Bico Soto, gawin niya dito sa Marikina. Dahil mas for a long while, very iconic ang Marikina. It's like Manila, no? Pag sinabing Marikina, no, lahat nakaka-identify, lahat nakaka-associate. Yan ang gawaan ng sapatos. No, nung panahon namin,
Right.
hindi nung panahon nyo, no? Nung panahon namin,
It's our little
Marikina,
Florence.
Sapatos,
Yeah.
sapatos.
Little
no?
Italy. Yeah, it's our kind of a...
Yeah, so very iconic, no? Gawin na niya, no? Katulad ng ginagawa ni Magalong sa Baguio, katulad ng ginagawa ni Bico Soto sa Pasig, no?
Yeah.
Katulad ng ginawa ni Binay dati sa Makati, no? So gawin na niya, no? Doon siya magsimula mag-reinvent. And then use that as her narrative for national position, no? Tingin ko hindi naman siya deeply damaged sa nangyari.
Yun nga eh. You
Pero
think there's still
nagtambol
something
siya ng
there.
gusto eh.
Yeah, yeah.
Nagtumbling siya eh, no?
Yeah. Masyadong
Kaya
bigo na
wag na niya
sablay.
ulitin. Dahil bata pa siya eh.
Sayang,
No?
oo. At saka magaling siya, matalino
Magaling
siya.
naman siya, no? Unlike most of our congressmen who are
Kaya
at
nga eh.
best mediocre. At best.
Yeah,
No?
to put it nicely. Yun nga eh,
Yeah.
like, my worry kasi is, although I mean, ganito kasi, di ba, yung parang si Grace po, medyo na-cancel na siya, di ba, after the 2016. Parang no one in the opposition and no one wants to talk about her. It's not like it stopped her from still almost topping the Senate. I mean, if you talk to Grace po, and there are people who say, well, we're still one of the top senators. Like, but obviously, if you want to really go for the highest office, you want to have as many people as possible, and you don't want to be canceled by one major plurality, right? So how does she? Again, as I said, I'm not underestimating Grace Po. I think Grace Po is still a major player in many ways, but Grace Po would have been even more had she not been
But he will be a
semi-cancelled.
permanent senator, like Loren.
Yun lang eh. Medyo na-cancel na siya, di ba? Medyo na-cancel. So even her numbers for vice presidency were alanganin, di ba? Kasi she was considering VP naman this last election. So how does she make sure she doesn't become Grace Po, if I can put it that way? Kasi si Grace Po medyo na-cancel na talaga eh. Like, you know, like she's still being blamed for Digong winning in 2016, which I completely disagree with. I have a completely different take on that. So like, is there a way? I don't want to use the word rescue or redeem or. I mean, what's the exit ramp here for Stella? Because I think she still can give a lot to this country, and I just hope this past 12 months of horrible, torturous, you know, experiences she has will really be a learning lesson for her to go next level. Because sayang eh, she could be,
Tingin ko yun.
yun nga, she could be a
Tingin
brilliant,
ko yung
brilliant person.
kanyang
Yeah.
pagiging mayor of Marikina ay it's both a one step backward and a two steps forward
yeah.
at the same time.
Redemption.
No?
Yeah.
Yun yung mangyayari, no? Atras siya ng konti sa national politics, pero mag-advance siya sa local politics as the foundation later on for national politics. Dahil short memory ng tao eh. Kaya baka makalimutan na yung mga episode na yan. Lalo na kung magsha-shine siya as a mayor of a very iconic city like Marikina.
Yeah, and if I think it would be nice also if she comes, give more interviews and humbly, you know, recognizing, show herself awareness. Na yeah, medyo sumobra ako dito. How I wish, you know, I approached it better. I think if she does kind of this kind of a heart-to-heart interviews with the right people, not necessarily R&R, but you know what I'm saying. I
Boy
think
Abunda.
it's something like that. Yeah, but maybe not Tito Boy. Maybe you know what I'm saying. Maybe more Rappler types, right? I think it helps because honestly, when I read her interview with Rappler, that's where medyo nagkaroon ako ng more empathetic understanding. Not necessarily sympathetic, but at least empathetic. So I felt that's good. She's smart. She realizes her narrative should also be taken in consideration. Kasi siya yung parating binabash, Stella is like the new Harry Roque. Parang ganun ang dating, di ba? And the fact that she's still staying with Liberal Party, it's kind of weird situation. Now, speaking of technocratic, smart people, but not necessarily best politicians, let's talk about your former colleague, former senator, former DILG secretary, former DOT secretary, Mar Roxas. Let's talk about Mar Roxas because remember last week we just said
BBM needs a narrative change, right? He needs to mix things up, right? And isn't that exactly what he did in Capiz? Giving away rice together with Mar, talking about their youth days and chismis. Like
Yeah.
that looks like a smooth operator kind of PR messaging, no?
Yeah. I think President Bongbong is beginning to realize, no, na katulad ng pinag-usapan natin, not only change the narrative,
Yeah.
but to think out of the box, no?
Right.
As part of the narrative. At a cabinet revamp, I think will happen sooner than later, no? At for now ay parang hindi kasama si Mar dun sa mga lumalabas na pangalan dito sa cabinet revamp, no? Ibang mga pangalan na lumalabas.
Yeah.
Pero until it happens, it didn't happen. So ibig sabihin the possibilities remain, no?
Yeah.
Lalo na maganda naman ang kanyang personal relationship with the president, no? Sabi pa nga ni Bongbong half jokingly sana hindi maikwento ni Mar yung aming bachelor days sa New York, no?
Because si Mar at least nag-aaral
tingin mo
at
ba-
nag-graduate, yung isa hindi. I mean, si Mar at
tingin
least
mo ba,
nag-aaral, nag-graduate.
Tingin mo ba naranasan nila yung ating yung bachelor days ng R&R?
Ay, ewan ko dyan, baka kayo ni Randy yan. No, I mean, but what do you think is all, I mean, okay, if I were to be a bit more cynical, I would say, hindi ba nagagamitan lang silang dalawa here na maybe there's really no intention of bringing Mar on board. It's more like Mar's just trying to be relevant, okay lang, and then Marcos is just bringing him in whenever he wants to change narrative? Or do you think there's really more to it? Do you think there's really a good chance na Mar may
I think
eventually
there could be more to it, no?
more to it,
Dahil
more than
ang
50%
problema lang,
chance?
last year kasi nachichismis na si Mare,
Yeah.
no? At isang taon na wala pa rin naman, no?
Yeah.
Wala pa rin naman. Pero early this year, sabi rin ni Bongbong, magka-cabinet revamp siya eh. Pero hindi naman nangyari. Pero ngayon, dahil bumaba siya ng 15%, tingin ko mas seryoso siya ngayon for a cabinet revamp. Na partly as a buffer, partly to change the narrative, partly to really improve the cabinet. Dahil alam naman niya na there's a lot to be desired sa ilang mga members ng kanyang cabinet, no?
Right.
Pero looking at knowing Mar and looking at the possibilities, tingin ko hindi na maganda sana kay Mar ang DSWD. Pero Gatchalian is doing a good job na eh. Diyan, no? Maganda kay Mar ang foreign affairs.
Yeah,
No?
ako, DFA talaga for me. Oh.
Meron siyang gravitas para diyan, no?
Yes.
Mas may political and diplomatic skill set siya to do that.
Correct.
Pero mukhang hindi naman parang hindi naman dissatisfied si Bongbong with Secretary
No,
Manalo.
yeah, and
no? Hindi siya no?
So, Ron, it
Pero,
looks like it's really DA or DTI, right? I mean, like, DTI is perfect for him and makes sense, but mukhang DA would be the best for Marcos in a way of putting at some sort of
Yeah,
distance
yeah.
with cushion,
Yeah.
right?
Parang meron na for DTI eh. Parang meron na. Parang kulang na lang ay i-announce yung DTI, no? Na napapalit, no? Pero yung agriculture baka sakali. Although meron na ring na interview, meron na ring nakahandang mag-take over sa agriculture, pero ganun din sa finance, no? Pero kailangan mong ilagay si Mar dun sa lugar na hindi negative ang pagiging politiko, no, na ma-appoint. Halimbawa, may isang politiko na hinahanda to take over the finance portfolio. That would send the negative
Super wrong
message
signal.
to multilateral and investors, no? Ayun yung kan. Pero halos clinch na yan, no? So, kung ilalagay si Mar, the best talaga is foreign affairs, no?
Alam mo, dalawa lang tayo nan. Dalawa lang tayo nagsabi ng DFA. I mean, I said this 3 months ago. Yung mga friends ko sa DFA na marites sila sa akin. Saan mo nakuha yan? Sabi ko, no, I mean, I'm just saying, in principle, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. Tuloy nagalit yata sa akin si Manalo. Hindi na siya chummy sa akin, joke lang. Yeah, but I think we agree
Dahil
because
dahil
yeah.
kung nag-iisip siya ng political future, mahirap ang DA, ah. It can
Ay,
only do
hindi.
so
I think
much.
it's a quagmire, no? Just to put it nicely,
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
DFA is perfect for him because if you look at DFA also, he did pretty decent when he talked to Xi Jinping before, special envoy of
Yeah.
Aquino, right? And yeah, he's a Wall Street global Wharton guy. I mean, like he wouldn't have any
Yeah.
problem, and he wouldn't be another Teddy Boy Locsin na pakaran na pasikat and all of that. He'll be a legitimate, respectable guy. And now medyo maputi na yung
Yes.
hair niya, di ba? So meron siyang gravitas in the way siguro.
Yes.
Yeah, iba eh. Medyo may
Yeah.
dating na siya, no? Medyo may pagka George Clooney feels. Now, let's go to the last part of this episode, Secretary Llamas. How was he as your colleague? Because, again, see, this is what we do in R&R, right? And this is what I do. I'll be honest. I heard completely contradictory things about him. No, I've had my interactions with him. Ang pansin ko sa kanya is, when he's among geeky people, like sa UP School of Economics or Engineering, he's funny, he's humorous. Like, I'm among my fellows, right? And, like, kunya, naalala ko yung isang joke niya noon. Noong 2016, in-offer namin, sa tinola, kasi kailangan natin healthy. Ay, gusto ng tao dinuguan. Right? Nagtawanan. Like, he has that kind of humor. So, like, okay naman, sayang hindi yan lang lumabas sa politics. But of course, we understand what was going on there. Maybe we can also talk about that. But at the personal level, many people were telling me, Richard, nakikita mo lang yung charming side niya. Ay, nako, ano yan? Elitista yan. Ano yan? Karen yan. Ganon. Ano yan? Talagang, ano yan? Araneta yan. You know, like, you could hear those things. And then suddenly, now that I'm talking about more and more, I'll see comments from people message you, hindi, actually I work with him, I have someone work, he meticuloso siya, but he's consultative, he works. I'm sure he's your friend or you work with each other, but what do you think is the most accurate? I mean, no one is perfect, obviously lahat tayo may Karen side and all, but what's the real score on Mar Rojas as a person, as a leader, beyond all the FOPA, PR, and all the things that happened during 2016 elections, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mar is a renaissance man. He's a man of many parts and accomplishments. You can talk almost anything with him, no?
Right.
Meron siyang alam sa maraming mga bagay at hindi mediocre yung alam niya, no? Kaya together ay pwede niyang gamitin yan, no? Para mag-crisis manage, para to govern, no? To troubleshoot, no? Kaya niyang gawin yan. Siguro minsan yung weakness niya ay maingat siya. No, maingat siya. Dahil ayaw niyang ayaw niya to cut corners. Hindi katulad namin na lumaki sa university belt. No, we're used to cutting corners, no? Getting the job done by whatever means. No, siya mas maingat siya.
Madiskartes kayo
Sa rule of law, no, sa feelings ng ibang mga tao, etc. No? Kami, bahala na. Nagtatawag kami ng lamesa eh. Hindi gagawin ni Marion. No? Siguro baka kinakailangan niya ng konti na ganon sa rough and tumble world of Philippine politics. No?
So you think it's
Kailangan
too
may konti
diffident?
siya.
You think masyadong diffident?
Kailangan,
Overcautious?
sabi nga ng kanta, kailangan na maginoo na medyo bastos. No? Si Mar is maginoo. No? Baka kailangan dagdagan yung pagiging bastos na yung tipong Richard Hidarian na bastos, no? Yung gano'n, no?
Excuse me, I mean, I'm the nicest. But medyo medyo palaban. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Medyo spicy.
So gano'n. Yung brother niya na namatay, hindi ko kilala eh, pero alam ko yun yung medyo bastos, no? Yun yung nakikipag-inuman sa kanto. Yun
natural political.
Kausap ko mga driver, etc. Gano'n. So, kailangan niya ng konting gano'n. Pero, ayun nga, yung strong point niya, he's a renaissance man. No? Na kailangan natin sa gobyerno, no? The positive side of government.
Matalino eh,
Minsan
magaling eh.
nagsalita ako sa Singapore Forum. Diyan, no? Kasabay ko si Lee Hsien Loong, kasabay ko si Masagos, kasabay ko si yung kanila ngayon, yung Prime Minister, no? Siya yung Finance Minister din, no? Pagbalik ko sa cabinet, sabi ko, grabe, no? Yung kasama kong mga minister sa Singapore, they're talking about zeitgeist, no? They're talking about about philosophy,
Yeah,
literature,
Renaissance
when
man
discussing
talaga.
globalization, no?
Very
Uh,
smart, very smart.
Bakit wala akong makausap ng ganito sa cabinet natin? No, yun yun. Ang kausap ko nun si Mar. So, tawa siya ng tawa. Kasi
Wala
si
pa
Mar,
kasi si
maunawaan
Heydarian
eh.
nun eh. Wala pa kasi si Heydarian.
Oh,
Bata pa.
siya maunawaan yung sinasabi ko eh, no?
Correct, correct.
Dahil, panto eh, meritocracy ang Singapore eh. Di ba? Yan, di ba?
In fairness.
Nagbabasa yan ng poetry, nagbabasa yan ng ideology, no? Nagbabasa yan, at saka,
Ng
yung
Kipling,
skill set
ng
nila
Kipling and
is
Byron.
multifaceted.
Yeah.
Kaya nga, yung si Masagos, DILG nila, pwedeng lumipat ng department easily eh.
Yeah. Kasi
Dahil
all
they are
around.
renaissance men, no?
Yes, they're all around.
Yan, no?
Yeah.
Kaya nila maglipatan eh, no? Yun yung, kaya ang sarap nila kausap doon sa Singapore Forum.
Right,
No?
right. And
Tapos
you,
balik ako sa Pilipinas, wala akong makausap.
but you think Mar is of the same caliber, no? You think Mar is of the same
tingin ko
caliber?
yung tipo ng mga Singaporean managers, no? Cabinet ministers, politicians.
Yeah.
Tingin ko ay magiging at home si Mar sa ganyang klaseng crowd. Pero kinakailangan niya ng kaunting maging medyo bastos. No?
Yeah, major risk taking, maybe pushing the envelope. Yeah, I mean, he's still young. I think he's still got it. He's still smart. I think many people will still be excited to support him. Yun lang, I think he should just learn the right lessons from, the PR strategy and in the past. Kasi kung ikaw ay parang Rockefeller and I don't know, and Kennedy, you cannot pretend to be a Trump, right? You cannot out-Trump pag
Yeah.
ganyan ang background mo. And I
Yeah.
think that's the mistake that
Yeah.
happened. You cannot beat
Mahirap magpa-jack.
Exactly.
Mahirap magpa-jack.
Tapos,
Hindi bagay.
hindi, at saka yun ang problema. Padyak ang strategy mo kasi si Bina yung akala mong kalaban, hindi mo alam may digong pala na parating, di ba? Na parang, oh my God, akala ko padyak, bardagulan pala yung, you see like, he got double punched eh. And then there's like the
Yeah.
graceful element. So I think everything came together to prevent him from, but he
Yeah.
topped the Senate. He was almost the vice president until the last Noibi angle. And he was first runner-up against someone like Digong. So, I mean, his actually political record is
Yeah.
not that bad. Mahina lang siya nung 2019 elections. I think that one is
Yeah.
classic Mar na pahapyaw and sumablay na siya. I think his 2019 election
Yeah.
was really weak. So if Mar,
Yeah.
so tingin mo, Mar should run for also higher office, like, let's say if he's back in the cabinet, you think he should still consider it? Third time lucky?
Tingin ko running for the Senate, especially during the midterm na very tight.
Yeah, wag.
Tingin ko dapat wag niyang gawin, no? Tingin ko the best for him is to be appointed
For now.
in a department na bagay sa kanya. Nasa ngayon iniisip ko foreign affairs. With all due respect kay Secretary Manalo.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm sorry, Secretary. I'm just saying if ever lang, di naman parang maswak sa kanya since. And then,
Yeah.
last point, parang medyo similar sila ni Gibo, no? Yung matalino, suabe and all, medyo kulang pa rin sa, I mean, of course, Mar is way more successful, electorally speaking, but medyo may similarities. I mean, if imagine a cabinet of Mar and then you have Gibo and, I'm sorry, cabinet of Marcos and you have Gibo and Mar there, right? Two of the smartest guys
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, amazing, right? It always takes a
Pero
Marcos to
kung
bring,
yeah.
yeah.
Pero kung maobserbahan mo si Gibo, sinusubukan niyang i-reinvent yung sarili
Oh,
niya.
nagtatagalog na
Diba?
siya na medyo sablay.
Matapang siya ngayon, no? Tinatawag niya itong China as invaders, no?
Schoolyard bully.
Nakita mo ba na yung billboard? Billboard sa EDSA?
Yeah.
May billboard siya ngayon sa EDSA.
Hindi ko nakita,
diba?
hindi ko nakita.
Tingnan mo, may kwento,
Interesting,
mapadala ko sa'yo, no?
interesting.
So, nire-reinvent niya.
Of course, he has to.
Siya ngayon, nakikipagsuntukan siya ngayon, no? Especially with the superpower like China.
Akala ko
no?
Robimhood.
Talagang,
I thought with
no, tapos
Robimhood.
nung nakaharap na si Robinhood, binarabara niya, di ba? So, nagiging wala siya.
Nagtagalog pa
nagiging
siya, di ba?
street fighter.
Nagtatagalog pa siya. Pansin ko mas nagtatagalog siya. Although
Yes.
hindi pa siya nandun. Pero tinatry niya.
Yes, medyo similar sila ni Mar, pero nire-reinvent niya na yung sarili niya na sa isang skill set
Yeah.
na yung tawag natin kanina, for lack of a better term, medyo bastos. No,
Let's just say spicy. Medyo makulit. Medyo bardagulan. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat, Secretary Leon. Almost exactly on time natin natapos. And of course, we were hoping to have this earlier. See, sa sobrang mahal na mahal natin yung mga followers natin, kahit 9:30, 10 p.m., hinahabol natin. Kahapon talaga sabi ko, I want you to enjoy your day. You're catching up with friends, also our common friends. And then today, I tried to do it earlier, pero sabi ko, hindi, pilitin natin. So thank you so much, Secretary Llamas, for always making time for our discussions. And alam ko, excited ka naman talaga to talk to me. I mean, I'm just being humble and nice, you know. Malikot tayo mag-isip. But I, I just have a good feeling about our conversation because parang yung mga sinasabi natin nagkakatotoo minsan. Parang may nakikinig ba sa atin na with us without knowing? Because I know yung mga podcast namin ni Leloy, suddenly, like, you know, there was a big hedge fund guy, who, mayaman yan. No? He came to me and said, alam mo kayo ni Leloy, favorite mga leftist thinkers ko, sabi niya something like that. Na. My suspicion is marami din tayong mga ganitong secret fans, no, who are listening to us, like, and we don't know how.
Pero naman tayo, non-threatening naman tayo eh.
Oo naman, absolutely.
Maginoo na medyo bastos.
Oo.
No?
Hindi, ako yun. Ikaw medyo maginoo. Ako medyo bastos. Ikaw medyo maginoo.
What can I do? It comes so naturally.
Ay, naku, Bartek.
Unless you didn't do it.
I know. Thank you so much. Share with your background na Chinese Confucius. I think perfect na naman sa discussion natin. So, hope to catch up with you soon, Secretary Llamas, and we'll watch Shane. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Trips, and I'll send you the contact number
Yes.
of our friend.
And please send my regards to Randy and all. Let's do the triple R before he goes on his world tour.
Hindi ko
Yeah.
nakakabot. No?
Yeah, maganda yan. Let's try to do.
Sayang.
Yeah, but let's try to do something over Zoom or in person.
Lord De Vera.
Oo. Ay,
Dumating
iba na
din si
yan.
Lord, no?
Si Lord talaga, love na natin. Wag po. Okay. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Salamat. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Tignan nyo, mahal na mahal ko kayo kahit sobrang pagod tayo. Grabe. Whew. Alam niyo naman dito sa Grand Prix. Pumunta na rin ako dito para mag Grand Prix. Hindi. Ay nako, habang yung isa pumunta dito para mag Grand Prix, ako dito trabaho kagad. Pagpasok ko pa lang, meeting this, talk that, and then mamaya maaga na naman habol natin to. Pero dahil mahal namin kayo, sabi ko tuloy natin tong discussion natin. And of course, Ronald is a very good friend, and I'm glad that many things that we were discussing, you know, off the record, not necessarily because we're not, but you know, things that we were just discussing among ourselves now, we can share it with you folks. And nakita nyo, we do this very differently. Yung mga, and wag niyo naman kami i-compare sa mga ibang tao dyan. Si Christian ay sariling galing yan. No? Twice pa tayong tinawagan na Christian. No? We're all trying to do our part. Ako, ang style ko naman, you know, I'm a political analyst, thinker, scientist myself. So, you know, I share my point of view, and it's conversations. I hope you appreciate the things we say here, and I hope you appreciate our efforts. I know medyo late, guys. I was hoping to do this earlier, but wala talaga. Trabaho, travels, etc. Kita niyo sa itsura natin, lalong-lalo na dyan sa Zoom, makikita na sobrang pagod yung itsura natin. But I'm glad we continue this kind of discussions. And, you know, I felt we need to do that. We need to really look at things from different angles. Contentious issues, difficult issues. And before jumping to conclusions and trying to cancel people, let's look at this. Like, Stella Quimbo, where has she gone wrong? What she could do? Because I think people like Stella Quimbo still have a lot to offer. She's very smart, and I think she so ayoko yung culture na cancel culture. Of course, hindi ko nagustuhan yung pag-defense ni mga mamumudyan. Of course. But does that mean now we should forget everything else she has brought to the table? Everything else that she could do for the country? Everything good that she did during the Digong time? Remember, she was against the removal of franchise for ABS-CBN. She was, I think, the lone dissenting voice. So, yun lang. Ayoko lang kasing style ng tao na, you know, nagkakamali naman talaga lahat. Lalo sa politika natin, ang hirap talaga. So, and with Roxas, I know maraming say, wala na yan, lost na yan, wala na yan. And I think his 2019 election strategy was really bad. And while the others were underappreciated. But, you know, you never know. And I think, bata pa naman si Mar. Pwede siya mag-George Clooney style, ano. You never know. Alright, on that note, thank you so much sa lahat ng mga nakinig sa atin, yung mga medyo late na nag-join sa atin. Please check. I especially like this episode about Stella Quimbo and Roxas because it's really about the tragedy and triumphs of centuries technocratic politics in the Philippines. Paano ka maging isang epektibong politiko kung ikaw ay napakagaling na technocratic, matalinong tao, Pero yung political instinct mo, yung killer instinct mo ay wala pa rin. Right? Or, to be honest, mahirap talaga maging magaling pag puro mga katrapuhan lang sa paligid mo. So, I just felt we have to have a proper analysis of that. Hindi naman Harry Roque level to eh. So, we can have a discussion about that. Alright? So, please check out yung mga analysis natin and discussions natin. And I hope this sound system was not too bad. Right? I'm trying to use my lapel here and putting here in there. Siguro sabi ko mas clearer. I'm hoping in the future i-set up ko ulit yung meron actually akong pang podcaster and ganun eh yun lang, but I'm not dressed in my podcast so parang weird, but we'll try that. Yan, gayahin natin si Christian naman dyan, medyo podcaster na. I have the stuff for that, pero isa-set up ko pa yung studios and all of that. By the way, so please also check yung ano natin, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ano lang, it's just one click. Yung mga followers natin sa Facebook, medyo malaki-laking followers natin, hundreds of thousands. So please subscribe, follow us also on YouTube kasi we have to be aggressive also on YouTube. No, it's a realm which has been under tapped by us, and unfortunately, a lot of marites and a lot of maharlika type of bloggers have been very powerful on YouTube. So we're trying to take the fight to this kind of people. All right, so please support us. Twitter, wala silang laban sa atin mga kameta. Walang laban sa Twitter mga yan sa atin. YouTube, Instagram, never mind, right? Ang Instagram pang ano lang yan. Hindi naman. It's about humanity and art and prose. And Facebook naman, salamat naman sa Diyos, malakas-lakas tayo sa Facebook. Pero sa YouTube, kailangan natin lumaban mga kameta. Medyo mahina-hina tayo. So, kaya nga ako, kudos to Christian Esquer and some of our friends who are doing a very good job on YouTube. And I'm glad he's there. But we need to be more active there, more of us, no? Because matindi yung labanan sa YouTube eh. Ang lakas-lakas talaga ng YouTube. Alright? So please, road to 100,000 dapat hopefully before the end of the year, 100,000 na natin yan para legitimate YouTuber na tayo. So please support us, subscribe to us dyan sa YouTube, ask other people to subscribe to us. Don't worry, they will not regret it. Wala na, sabaw na. Pagod na ako. Alright, thank you so much. God bless. Terima kasih. God bless. Thank you very much.